Another episode, Beyond the Brand Podcast, with your host, Angelo. And today I have two very special guests. It took some convincing. Shout out to Alex. He can convince his sister to get on. If you are, at this point, everyone's a content creator. So if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, or if you're just a old grandpa trying to get your TikTok dances, stay tuned because these are the people that are going to tell you how to get your content going, how to get it better, etc. So today we have Alyssa and Alex with Social Beasts on the podcast. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me.
Finally. I'm excited we finally locked a podcast in.
Finally, it took a lot of convincing, but
I felt like I was dodging the podcast for a long time. Just the idea of the podcast. So I'm just so used to being behind the camera that I really couldn't fathom being in front of it. I was just like, oh, I can't do it.
That's a good point because one of my questions was, why is it that the people that make the best content don't want to be in the content?
I think that I've learned, like, early on for me, I'm like, I can get people to be their most authentic self because I can talk them through whatever we're doing, whatever we're working on. But for me, it's, it's like that same thing. Like, to have motivation for yourself is way different than when you're hyping your friend up. It's like the idea of now I have to lock in because it's my content and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I could do this. But if I was trying to direct Alex or produce a shoot for Alex, I can lock in quickly and get his best self out quickly.
How?
Just because I can, like, I'm really, we had this conversation yesterday, but I think, like, honestly, shout out to our mom, specifically my mom. Our moms are twins, fun fact, but my mom is very, like, she has a ton of empathy for people. And all my life she's had a whole bunch of empathy. And I feel like I've taken that from her to be like, I can really empathize with the person that's in front of me. And so, like, to pull their story out of them, I can do that, like, easily. Like, it's one of my...
Through empathy.
Yeah. And so I think, like, I'm really able to help people, feel confident on camera. And I think that's the biggest part is, like, feeling confident. So back to your original question is, like, I just have to dig deep when I have to get on camera to be, like, pour that same confidence into myself.
Yeah. It sounds like, in this case, Alex was your, like, hype man.
Exactly.
Like, that you needed. Yeah, and I think that's so important. Dude, you're a content person, obviously, because I had that question. Is like, a big thing is if you want to make content, you have to make the subject feel comfortable. Yeah. Like, that's a huge... I think people don't really understand that when they're shooting content. And if they're scared or timid, it doesn't come out right.
And also, people can read it right through the camera. Like, it's like when athletes are trying to perform at a high level, you can tell right away if that quarterback is really nervous for that play, or you can tell by their mannerisms. Yeah. And so it's like, if you study people or things long enough, then you start to pick up on things. And so, like, I always tell people, like, marketing is less about the marketing and more about, like, it's more of a psychological game. So if you can master the psychological part of marketing, you can sell anyone anything.
Wow.
I think, honestly, it's all mental, too, because she'll sit there, I'm like, the video's perfect. And, I do this too, but she'll sit there and she'll be like, are you sure? Shouldn't I change this? Shouldn't I change that? I'm like, it's perfect. Let it fly. Let it rock. But it's like, you're just in your head kind of like, oh, is that person going to, think that yellow is off? But in reality, it's perfect. Like, you don't need to adjust anything.
Yeah, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, we're our own worst critics. And honestly, that's why I even have the clients that I do, in the sense of, like, they know that they want to do something, they just don't know how to get there. Yeah. And so my biggest asset is to help them get to that next level through content marketing and honestly just sharing their story in the most authentic way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think doing this podcast, obviously I got to watch myself a lot, which I hate doing, but I can tell when it's really good is when I'm not worried about what people are going to think about this. Yeah. I'm just putting myself out there and I'm just like, I hope I like you guys. Right. When you guys watch
That's true.
This.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like the best way to gauge, like the best way to gauge your audience is to literally pull up and be as authentic as possible, no matter what that means. Because it's like the only thing that's for sure is that we are going to be exactly who we are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if we change so much over time, it's like, one, people can read right through it. Two, it's not authentic. And three, you're not going to even attract the right people.
Yeah. So because you're just pleasing this audience that you made up in your mind. Yeah. Like, that doesn't even exist. And
most of the time they don't. Like, that's how I always tell people. I'm like, nobody cares. So, like, at the end of the day, like, I see a ton of people and I can be, like, my own worst critic. And people are like, I'll post one video and people are like, hyping up, not only in the comments, but like they're legit like sending me messages. And so it's like, it's just crazy. Like, I was just telling Alex, I was like, if I hadn't posted this one video that I personally thought was like super dumb, I would have never closed like the biggest contract I've ever closed.
Wow.
From the dumbest video.
Mhm.
Like
it's
it
always
was
the ones you don't expect either. Like
it was literally a video, like we can pull this up too, but it's like I have a camera behind me and I'm editing on the computer, but like it's just a shot right behind me. That's it. And I had like the hustle's worth it. I wrote it on the video.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. And yeah, that's how I got locked in with Casey to be like, not even monetarily, it wasn't the biggest thing, but it produced like one of my like most fruitful friendships.
Wow.
And so it's like, because we get to work together, we're like locked in
Yeah,
completely.
we're brand together.
Yeah, we got a brand together. So it's just like, you never know. Like if I would have never posted that video, she would have never probably hit me up.
How long did you look at that video? Because it's so simple. I know you were probably like, is the font right?
You know what's funny
Is the lighting
is-
right?
Is I bought this preset from like another creator that I was like, anytime I can support a creator, I'm always like, I need to do it because
That's
it's
dope.
very hard to make money on doing content creation. And so, anyways, he had he was selling, I don't even know what it was. I think like a LUT, which is basically like a color profile. And I just was like, I just want to use that so I can tag him in it. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I did that video only so I could tag him. And so I think it kind of goes back to like every single time like I feel like I've looked out for someone, it always comes back a million
Wow,
times more.
karma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it's like, so that story is just so, like it's just funny. I've been meaning to make a video about like how this 15-second video changed my life. Like I feel like that's a good title.
Damn.
So it's just like, but yeah. At the end of the day, anything is content.
Maybe you can clip that right there.
Perfect, I know,
and then
for
start the
real.
video.
now that it's on the podcast, she has to do it.
Yeah.
Now that we have the audio of it.
That's true, that's
use
true.
that.
It takes a lot
that's
of stuff away.
dope. So I
But-
wanted to ask, because this is like a, what do you call it? Like when something, there's a particular word that people like to use. I forgot what the exact term is, but like it's like a hot word. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
But the word that I'm thinking of is like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like everyone in content is using that
Yeah.
word right now. Is like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like what does that mean to you guys? Storytelling.
Well, to me, storytelling, for me specifically, because I've started putting this into proposals at this point. But it's really, for me, it's like getting the person to be authentically them, but also doing enough research and enough of the like client retention within like between each other that we can get their exact story the way they want to tell it, and then try to figure out how we're going to do that on video. And so like I do a ton. Alex always laughs at me, but I'm on the phone all the time.
Okay.
Like
40 calls a day.
Yeah.
It's like
Minimum.
No, seriously, like it's not even a joke. Like,
I really am. Like I'm on the phone all day. And if I'm not literally shooting or in a meeting or doing stuff like this, I'm on the phone. And so like that is just getting to know the people that I work with better and or like answering questions that they might have, because I feel like it's like ideas come to people's brains for a reason. And it's like the second that an idea comes to their mind, I'm like, okay, let me write it down so we can make this video.
Yeah.
And that's how like our biggest videos for our clients have happened. Just
Yeah.
by like,
Yeah, because you set up. I like doing that too. It's funny. Like a lot of the people that I've had on the pod that I don't know,
yeah.
I like to get on. Like we're texting, and then I'm like, "Hey, can I call you?"
Yes, exactly.
So we
It
jump on the
works.
phone, and like within that 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, but like in that time frame, you set up a rapport with them.
That's what I'm
so
saying,
they
yeah.
feel like, they know you now,
Yeah.
even though you guys have only talked for like such a little time.
Well, that's the funny thing too. I mean, I don't know the last time I've seen you maybe in person.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know either.
But we did go to middle school together. So
Yes.
like my thing is like even though I haven't seen you in a very long time, it's just so funny because like when I started seeing you with the vintage stuff, I was like, I feel like I know you, even though it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
And so like I felt like that's why even taking like eventually saying yes to the podcast, I'm like, if I'm gonna do anyone's podcast, I'm gonna do yours because
Yeah.
I feel like I can see you putting in the work, and so it's like why not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I feel like that's why my vintage page has done decent, is because I've always on that page tried to be myself so much
Yeah.
that a lot of people, when they see me, they're like, "Hey, what's,"
Yeah.
sometimes I feel bad because they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, I just have to go with it because I
Right.
don't know
Yeah.
who they are,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I'm sure we messaged or
Right.
something. So yeah, I'm glad that you see that too.
Yeah, because the other thing too is like, obviously the stuff that you handpick is super fire, but at the end of the day, people can shop with anyone,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
if they can vividly see you, like at the end of the day, like a shirt is just a shirt, but like the relationship that they can build with you is way different.
Yeah.
And so like that goes back to the storytelling part too, because it's like if people remember anything about you, hopefully good, they're gonna want to shop again.
Yeah.
And so, or they're gonna want to work with that person again.
Yeah.
And so like that's why like the storytelling part for me is so important, because it's like I think you had posted something about your, I think it was your Nana's house, or like your Nana's neighborhood.
Yes.
And I think that
was
post went crazy, right?
Yeah, that was insane. I literally,
Yeah.
so like with that post, if anyone hasn't seen it on my vintage page, I literally just posted a street where I used to get dropped off from Magnet.
Yeah.
Every morning, like my mom would drop me off there at like 5 a.m. and go to work, and then I'd get on the bus from there to go to Magnet.
Okay, I got you.
So like that was where I was standing was where I'd wait for the bus like every day and got
That's
dropped
dope.
up every day. Like that was my normal area. So we were riding downtown and I was with my daughter and I was like, hey, let's go over my Nana. My Nana, rest in peace, doesn't have the house anymore and stuff like that. But I was like, let's go show Amelia, my daughter, my neighborhood,
Yeah.
you know? So I go over there and I'm like, hey, can you get a picture of me? So I go, my wife takes a picture, and I was like, you think I should post this on my vintage page? Or this is not really vintage related.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think people would like it. I'm like, I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of weird, you know? Like, because I don't like to grab
Yeah.
attention with my personal, you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, it went crazy. And I had no idea
Yeah.
that it would.
But it was a great, like, obviously the picture was great, but like it's the caption too. Like it, so that is, all of that is storytelling. And so I think it's
That's
like,
true.
yeah, it's literally your most authentic self.
I did not think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why I made that point, because I was
Yeah.
like, everything is storytelling if you can like connect it to something personally.
And I think it works the best when you don't like go into it like I'm gonna tell the story.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
You're just like
Or
being
like
authentic.
today, you know, I wanted to-
Here's
Today
kinda-
I went downtown
Yeah.
to go to my Nana's
that's what I
house,
always
you
tell
know?
people. I'm like, when people are making content that's like day in the life, like it doesn't need to be like, today I went to get coffee, shows a picture of the coffee. Today I went to go to the store, shows a picture of the store. Like it's like you have to, you know, it's kind of like feel like people are on FaceTime with like their bestie, like, and you got to explain to them like, girl, let me tell you what happened today,
Yeah,
and that like will resonate way more.
that makes sense.
Um,
But do you think, because this is another important thing, is like when you're doing content, like for example, that post, my wife just shot it on an iPhone, and it's one of my bigger posts, you
Yeah.
know? Do you need fancy equipment to
Want to answer this
shoot?
one?
I'll answer. We actually made a video about this. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter like your equipment. It's just more of how you use it. Because, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Heated Soul post with the one that Joel shot on iPhone.
Yes, I did.
That has
yeah.
to be one of the best videos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's all on iPhone. So it's just about more what you do with it. Like, you could have the best camera but not know the settings. You could have the worst camera but know the best settings to make it better. You know, so it's kind of just one of those things where if you know, you know. But, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, $1,000 cameras to make it happen.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too is like I did this recently to like prove a point, but instead of taking my big camera on a client shoot, I took my phone. And the person, and I asked them honestly, I'm like, do you care that I'm using my phone to film? And they're like, no, couldn't care any less.
That's what I'm always scared. So, for example, we're using my iPhone to shoot
Yeah.
the pod, and when I set it up, I feel like people are kind of like, and if people have even asked me like, "Oh, you just use your phone?" Because they can't tell
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it's on, but I do feel a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I use my phone, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't have
Not-
a real camera.
I think sometimes people view it as less intimidating, though.
Right.
Because to have a huge camera in front of your face, that's like, oh God, am I gonna be like on TV or on the news or you know? But if
Yeah.
if you're just using your phone, it's more natural.
Not to mention too, if you take the opportunity of less error to happen, the more you're going to be able to just talk. And so it's like
True.
with my cameras, we'll have 3 to 4 cameras set up, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm constantly like, hopefully that third camera's rolling, because you just like if somebody's not like manning the camera behind the scenes, you just don't know.
Yeah,
But a phone, you set it up on a tripod and you don't.
should be okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
The worst that happens is if you're outside and it's overheating, like you know.
Dude, that
which I'm-
happened at Heated Soul.
Yeah.
Oh,
with
okay.
us.
So, yeah.
we were shooting. Senior Foodie was showing us around to the
Yeah.
food, and it just shut
Yeah.
off. So I luckily I had mine. My boy, shout out to Manny, used mine. But yeah, that has happened to us too.
But the other thing too, I've had cameras overheat, like Sony cameras, Canon cameras. Like it doesn't.
it doesn't matter.
We're also in Arizona, so
Yeah.
you know.
So what? Can you remember that shoot where you took the iPhone and was like, "Are you okay with this?"
Yeah, it was a real estate shoot.
Oh, so it was big
It
business.
was big.
Like, yeah.
It was like a $3 million house. Like that was a remodel. Like they spent $3 million on the remodel
oh my
of the house. Like it was a brand new house. And like I had shot this house before, so like I knew that if all else failed and when I show up and they're like, I also had a whole different backpack in the car if this was a whole thing.
Okay.
But I needed I just wanted to know because like I want to be able to tell the clients that I work with, like the personal brand people, you can create content on your phone.
Yeah.
So like that can't be an excuse anymore.
For real.
Yeah, and so it's like we pulled up to that shoot, shot stuff with my iPhone, no gimbal, no nothing, like
No
straight,
gimbal?
no, straight,
Whoa,
Straight
you're
steady
savage.
hand.
straight,
Straight raw dog.
like for real though, for real. And so when I did that, I showed them right after. Like I've built rapport with this client I've been with them for like 4 years now.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Damn.
so they don't really care what I do as long as I get the job done.
Because they
don't-
know you get the job done.
And so, but it was good because the house was like fire. Like the house is so
Yeah.
sick. And so when we did that, he was just
Damn,
like,
no drone or nothing.
not one single drone. I had that up here, just walking.
That's
It was-
crazy.
yeah. So, but I think just with that is like I always preach that you do not need fancy equipment. Like
Yeah.
I'm like if you have a phone. Now I don't recommend Samsungs
Yeah.
honestly because
Why?
that content
I don't know about Android.
it doesn't translate. Like it doesn't translate when you're trying to like
That's
edit.
so weird because, yeah, what is it about the iPhone settings?
I have
that,
no idea.
Yeah.
And now
It's
with
like-
iPhone, you can shoot in 4K, so it's like you
Yeah.
really are getting the best of the best.
60
Like,
frames,
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
so
dude.
Yeah, I don't hate on too many things, but I just can't do this. I can't
it's
do
the
it.
green
Android.
text. That's what got me. It's the green text.
Yeah, if the
It's
text
green
show up
text.
green, I can't do it.
I can't shoot for you.
I can't work together. My thing is too is I like to send stuff through iMessage, like, and so if the quality doesn't come through, I'm like, it's just not a good look
yeah,
for us.
we've been utilizing shared albums. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if you guys
Oh,
have
that's
used
dope.
that,
Oh.
Yeah.
but it'll translate the quality in
Yeah.
shared albums. So if someone doesn't have an iPhone and you can't do
Yeah.
a shared album, they text it to you. It's like, bro,
Right.
It's all grainy.
You gotta pull it up on your
like,
on
what
your
am I gonna
computer.
do with
You're all
this?
trying to zoom in.
Now you gotta pull it up on the HP.
Oh my, on the whole desktop at home. That's crazy.
That's
What's
freaking
you
funny.
said you don't hate on too many things. What's something that you want content creators to stop doing? Like you
Oh.
see it, obviously the androids. Leave the androids alone. But what's something that you guys see maybe where you're like, this is like weird or this is
I
not
mean, I
right?
really think for me that something that sticks out always is when people are doing the day in the life and saying exactly what's happening on camera.
Okay.
Like it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes we'll edit videos like that
Yeah.
for people, and it's
Yeah.
like we can't. There's nothing we can do with this because they
They're
do
like,
see the copy.
I'm in the car driving.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Like we see that.
Yeah, we did. You're literally in the car.
There's nothing
Come on.
else that you're doing.
I'm taking a sip of coffee right now. I'm like,
And also too, I think for me, back to like the being authentic is like if I know the person for real and they're not showing up authentically, I literally just tell them like, look, like this is not a good look,
Oh.
and you should probably reshoot this. If
Okay.
I'm not shooting, if I am shooting in front of them, I tell them like right away, like that's
Yeah.
literally not you.
Yeah, I guess it's
so
not
we
gonna
must run
work.
this back.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I think that for me, it's authenticity. But like, so the way that our business works, my biggest role in this in the company is like to get more business and to shoot most of the content, but to create the strategies for the marketing. And so those what I would say like those are the three biggest things. Alex has been shooting more, but Alex edits everything. So
Wow.
every possible thing that comes out of our business is all his editing.
What do you use?
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro, okay. So with that one, you have to pay monthly, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
subscription. That's the only thing I haven't jumped into it because I'm like, I don't know if I want to do the subscription.
It's
but
a tax write-off.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
True,
No,
very
it's
true.
true.
So that's what you use. You never
Yeah.
dabbled in what's the other one?
There's like-
CapCut. I've dabbled in CapCut a little bit.
Yeah.
They have like DaVinci.
Da
they have-
Vinci, that was the one I was thinking
They have
of. Because that one you pay one time. I think it's like
that one's free.
$300
DaVinci's free.
but like the full
Oh
version.
yeah. But the one for the I can't think of the name right now. The one for the Apple, like the Apple.
Like iMovie?
iMovie?
No, I was gonna
Oh.
say it too, but I was like, it's not
That's
it.
what I use.
It's do you really?
Yes.
Honestly, I have heard iMovie's gotten way better though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. It's kind of the same. Bro,
Really?
I've been using
Really?
iMovie since like, oh my god, I
iMovie's
can't
crazy.
even tell you.
Yeah,
so
that's
all the
real
reels
low.
that you've ever seen of
That's
mine
crazy.
on my vintage
That's
page
on iMovie?
are iMovie.
That's crazy.
Everything I've ever done is
Dang.
iMovie.
I can't even think of the other app.
just-
It's like the other biggest app. There's Premiere Pro, DaVinci.
After Effects?
No, it's why can I? It's gonna annoy me so bad that I can't think of this.
I don't think I know it.
But it's
either.
the Apple version of Premiere Pro.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
Final Cut Pro.
Final
That's
Cut
what it
Pro,
is. I'm like,
okay.
I cannot think of what it's called. So Final Cut, like, it's kind of like as like like just a content person. It's like whichever one you like, you usually just stick with it because it's very
That's why I
hard to
haven't
learn
left
it. Yeah,
iMovie.
it's very hard to learn it. So like when I first started doing this stuff, like I didn't go to school for it or anything. I just was on YouTube. Like
Wow.
I would spend 5 hours a day on YouTube,
Dude,
like a
me
legit 5
too.
hours. Yeah.
With iMovie.
So okay, so.
So bad, bro. I
5
literally
hours on
do
iMovie's
like
kinda crazy.
7 extra steps.
Yeah,
Because
but-
it's an iMovie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So like I'm a big like I will pay for convenience every time.
Yeah.
So like I buy a lot of LUTs, I buy a lot of like presets, and like
Yeah.
I'm honestly trying to create my own like pack right now
that'd be sick.
because it's like a lot of the people that I work with, and like my goal is that they work with CapCut, they work with iMovie. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, but you know we'll try. And then Final Cut and Premiere. So
Gotcha.
like if that's the case, people can have the same effects that I do on my videos, and they can just plug and play.
Plug and play, yeah. That makes sense.
So it's like
So you said that you've done YouTube like hours watching and doing. How long have you been creating content? Like not for businesses, not I'm just saying
Yeah.
like for your life, for your family. Were you the
Why are you
photographer or
yeah, I don't know what he's about to say though.
One of my favorite videos ever on the internet is of Lissa, her friend, and then our brother Joseph, of them just going to Target. Going
yeah.
is it on the internet
It's
right
on
now?
the internet.
Oh, we gotta drop
It's
that
on
link.
it's one of my favorite. There's probably 100 views on it. I'm all 100 because I love that video.
Yeah, it's
And it's like, and it's all created by Alyssa Ville at the end.
Oh,
It's-
that's fire.
It's
I think it was like it had to, I mean, I was in high school, so it had to be like honestly like
2012?
2011, 2012.
okay, like almost graduating to
Yeah,
junior.
but I remember like I used to have this like little flip up, like slide up Samsung
I
phone.
had-
the
Oh,
little
okay.
silver one.
I thought you were gonna say the flip camera. You remember the
That
flip
too, I had
camera?
that too. That
I
was
had
fire. That was
yeah.
fire. So the Samsung, like that's when I started making videos. So like they're super grainy. Never knew how to get them off of the phone, like really. But I remember creating stuff on that phone.
On the phone.
Yeah, and so I was like, I really like the idea of videos. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've always made videos, and like I have a lot. Yeah, I just have a ton of videos. But I like the idea of like home videos, and so I was like, I want to do that because I was like, dang, I have no home videos of myself. Like I got a couple,
Yeah.
but not a lot. So
Dude,
I'm
me
like,
and
I never.
my wife had years and years of it, and our hard drive broke, so they're all gone.
Oh dang!
It
Like when
was
you guys
so
were younger.
sad. Like when, because we've been together since high school.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
high school until my daughter was born 5
Oh, my
years
God.
ago.
Oh man,
Dude, concerts. Because I used
Yeah.
to take. That's why I asked this question because I've been doing content too since
Yeah.
I could remember. Like I have YouTube videos up too. I'm not gonna drop those links. But me and Fonzie have done
Oh, yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
videos. Like we've been on YouTube for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty devastating. But
That's-
yeah, I feel like when you're in this game, you've been doing it
Yeah.
for a while without knowing that's what you
Yeah,
like
exactly.
to do.
I think that was the biggest thing is like I tried a lot of things and I'm like I know that I love marketing because I love to sell stuff like in general, and I know that I love to create content, and so I was like, how can I do both?
Oh, yeah.
And that's like how this literally it was
yeah,
born.
how this started. And what about you? Did you? Because you're younger.
yeah.
And I was, it's so funny. I was doing a little bit of research trying to like look at your page and your page, and you had pictures with Alex, and he looks so little, dude. Like, just like a baby, bro.
It
I'm
literally-
like, I'd be forgetting that he's so much
It
younger.
literally- yeah,
it's so
it literally
funny 'cause-
is.
It's funny because like when she would do like photo shoots or whatever, I'd be there just holding the little light, like the little like screen thing to make sure the sunlight wasn't in the way. So like I was just doing like little stuff just for fun. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hang out with my big sister today. And then what was it like? I don't even remember when she taught me how to edit, but then she started teaching me slowly how to like, oh, you could do this. So you put these clips together, you add this, and then last summer is when I like fully was like in it, like, oh, I'm gonna be a full-time editor and be like, I want to edit everything, YouTube videos, reels. So like before last year, I didn't know how to edit a YouTube video. It was more just like I know how to put the clips together, but I don't know how to fully, like put the LUT or put like the end graphics, or I don't know how to do subtitles. So
or even make the storyline.
exactly, yeah. So like putting it all together, and but I was like slowly. I've been doing this since like what I was like 13, 14,
Yeah.
15.
Just
something
little
like,
things.
just little things, and then it all kind of came together.
And the funny thing too is like I'm definitely a big like believer in like building the plane in the air.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So it's like I like to just throw myself into a million things and hope, like, not hope for the best, but like I trust that I put in enough work to do fine. And it's the same thing I wanted to like instill with him is like, you know enough editing to do this YouTube video. So I literally threw him into the fire because I think he started editing Casey's videos.
Yeah.
And Case,
And
like, which is a big deal.
Like,
Like,
it was a big ask. I was like, I was down for it because I'm like, I'm always down to learn and, you know, try new things. But it was like, it took me like a whole day
yeah.
to edit the, like, a 10-minute video.
Yeah.
And then, like, now it's like a 3-hour process of editing a full video.
Which is crazy because when I first started, I feel like I was still at like 7-8 hours for a full YouTube video. Like, at the minimum.
Bro, when I just dropped that Heated Soul one, I think I was like,
oh yeah, I'm sure that took
I don't
a minute.
even count the hours because I
That's what
go
I'm
do it
saying,
and then I gotta
right.
go do this, I gotta do that. Like, I can't sit there and like, because it's not my full time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I always think about that too. Like, if I could do this full time content, I would be pushing content out crazy, you know? But it's like, you have so many different things. I'm the same like you are. I throw myself at 20 different things and like, try to figure it out.
I also feel too like it really is the best way to learn. Like, it's also the best way to learn like what you don't like too. Like,
yeah, that's
you know,
true.
if you throw yourself in, and
you're
you
like,
don't.
I tried everything.
Yeah.
That's what I just never want to be at the end of this hopefully very long life and be like, I didn't try this.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like so it's just like I just want to try everything that I'm interested in and just go full send, literally.
So let's say I'm like a new business, because you can do everything on your own. But let's say you're a new business and you're not really a content person, so you want to allocate some money towards promotion and marketing. What does a budget look like, or what should it look like for like a new business? Because
I feel like that's a really good question, and I feel like the biggest thing that comes to my mind is like to simply just start with that. Like think about having a marketing budget. Because a lot of times people start business, especially local businesses, and they're like, my friends and my family's gonna pull up, and that's all the business I need. Yeah. But eventually, I mean, it happens all the time. It's like people can open a coffee shop, but people still love Starbucks. So it's like they're gonna go to what's most convenient. And usually, when you start out, you don't have a business on each corner. You don't have a location on each corner. So the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is to create content. So it's like to put money on anything. I would say like if you don't already have a decent phone, get a decent iPhone. That'd be the first thing. And if you're like I have some money left over, then see if you can hire anyone to edit the content. Because a lot of times like that's the biggest like hurdle that people do. Like sometimes I'll meet with people and I'm like, do you have any content? Because I don't see anything on their page, and they actually have like hours of content.
Oh,
they
really?
They just don't know how to edit it, so it never goes anywhere.
Wow.
So that's what I've seen when like doing these like client like consultation things is the person doesn't not have content, they just don't know how to edit it. So it's like so for me to answer that question, I would say like have somebody edit the content, because it's easy to like put the phone up and you do a time lapse. That's content. Like anything is content. It's just
I never thought about that.
So a lot of times people go directly into like, I just started a business, let me start running ads. And I always tell people, if your organic content is not working, your ad's not going to work.
For sure.
So that's like the number one way to lose money quick. And people do it all the time. Like they're like, sometimes I'll work with, and I don't take on brand new businesses all the time unless like their budget is right, because we put so much work into people's content strategies that it's like, if it's not going to be held up on your end, it's very hard for us to work with you, because it's like we put so much work on our side, and if it's like not being reciprocated, it's like I don't want to waste your time or your money or my time at all. So
dude, I feel like that even when we drop a podcast, like you can see the numbers when someone is like, we did this whole podcast, we spent this whole time, so when it drops, let's push it, you know? But then like when on the side, like shout out to DJ Nina, when it drops, she's throwing it on the story, she's sending it out, you know, and it goes up. Everyone's loving it. Whereas I won't say who the other people are, but they just kind of let it go in the wind, and we're like, dude, we're doing everything we can, but we need you to jump in with us. So it's
also
like,
too, like you're only reaching out to people to do podcasts if you think it's like valuable to the people that you're like your audience. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things like it's and that's kind of how I feel too. I'm like, when we create videos for people, it's like, at least post a video, like at the minimum. Because like we'll send people like 30 videos at a time, because we like honestly in a 2-hour shoot, if somebody came to shoot today, we can in 2 hours we can get like 30 to 40 videos out for them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so when we send the 30 to 40 videos and they do not hire us to curate the content, then if we're just like filming the content only, editing, then a lot of times they don't post the content. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
God.
And then
what
it
happens
sits,
to that? Yeah, it sits. And then by the time they decide to post it, it's too late because not too late, but like it's not relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they'll
So-
be talking about like something topical. And
Yeah.
then by the time.
Oh my
they'll-
goodness.
And then it's like the iPhone 11. Like they'll be talking about iPhone 11. I'm like, we're on the iPhone 15
Yeah.
now. Like,
and
it's
and
a
I
little
think
too late.
right. And my thing is too, like when we're creating content strategies, it's like that's why I really prefer to work with people when they want all of the things. When they want the content strategy, they want the content, and they want like the plan.
The curation.
Yeah, because it's like they need all of that. And so like I always tell people like the stuff we do doesn't just work by itself.
It's so funny. You're like making me think of things I wasn't even thinking before this podcast. So like I had a friend that had a vintage store and he told me, he's like, hey bro, could you do some content for me? And immediately when he told me that, I thought of that, all of it. I
Yeah.
was like, bro, I don't have time to like curate it, drop it for you. Like, but I could have been like, do you have content?
Yeah.
I'll just edit it for you.
Yeah.
And then tell you how to drop. Like I didn't, right when he asked me, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, cause I do it all.
Right.
So I was, as soon as he said that, I'm like, bro, I don't have time to shoot it, edit it.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't
like-
have time to run another page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because I have a mentor who's like he's like really like a super like he's super cool. He's had like restaurants in the valley for like 56 years.
Wow.
He's like this old head who's so dope.
Wow, you're just gonna call him an old
He-
head like
yeah,
that? That's
literally.
great.
He's an OG. He's an
Literally.
OG.
No, I've called him an old head before, and he's like he goes I've been in this game. But the point of that is like he told me early on, he's like you can't package everything, and so he's like you have to tell people the value that you're offering by itemizing everything.
Itemizing.
Yeah, and so he's like, because when you itemize it, he's like, but itemize it without the fluff. And I've taken that advice forever.
Like, explain that.
So like, I recently sent out a proposal to someone, and they had gotten other proposals from other marketing companies, and they were kind of like griping about those other proposals to me,
Oh.
which is like kind of funny. Like that usually doesn't happen.
You're like, oh, I'm winning.
But yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, I think I'm in the lead in this race. But I was like, what is throwing you off so much about their proposal? And what they had said was that like there's a lot of like things that they don't know if they need. And so I'm like, you don't have to show me numbers, nothing, but like let me just look at the proposal so I can tell you. Because I was like, you don't have to hire me. I just want to make sure you go with the right person for you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can help you with that process. And so I started looking through the proposal of what they were offering. They were offering #retention, which is hilarious.
What is that?
Right. It was like caption research, like just like
Hidden fees and
50 things that all that
Of
means
made
is
up
client
words.
retention. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's like the fluff that I'm talking about. So my proposals are so cut and dry. I make them in like literally like Google Docs.
That's so crazy.
And
Yeah, they're
it's
like
black
view
and white.
count review.
yeah,
Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. For real though. So they had, my proposal was 10 things. Theirs was 50 things. And so, but my 10 things, if you put them into like bold points, they would have 50 things under each point, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like, but to me, I'm like, I can break it down if you want, but at the end of the day, people only care about the end result.
For sure.
So it's like, so that's just like a funny way of like, because that's what he did offered for me is to like help me get to that point. Because I used to be like, I'll do your social media for X amount, and that's it. And they'll be like, okay. And it's like they're like they only see the title line of what you're offering and the price, so they don't really know what you're doing.
Got you.
And
so
so
there's
he's
that
like-
balance of itemizing, but not going crazy like hospital bills.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like just tell them the main points that you're doing so they can see the value,
See the value.
and anything else that you add, which is already under there, is going to go way further for them. They're going to be like, oh, they do the client retention. They do respond to comments. And it's like, that doesn't need to be in the proposal.
Do you guys
This is something
have
we do.
clients that you do it all?
Yeah.
yeah.
God, so you have pages you run.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I have access to 13 pages right now.
my-
I had to get a new phone because on Instagram, you can only have access to 7 pages.
So you have. Do you guys post stories and stuff too for them?
Yeah, it just depends. Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But that's why I'm on my phone all day. Like,
That's insane.
yeah, like you'll never not catch me on my phone. So I'm like, I've done a good job now of like kind of scheduling stuff, but that's another thing we do too that like some people are like, why not schedule? But when you schedule content,
I was gonna ask that.
it just doesn't push it as well. Like that's been a known fact. I could put the same thing at the same time with the same followers and it won't do as well because it knows that a third party posted that. And so Instagram knows, like the algorithm knows that your hands are moving this phone, moving these buttons, and that you just posted that, which means you're on the app. So it's gonna reward you for that basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you just answered one of my questions because
Oh, okay.
I've been wanting to schedule stuff, because sometimes, like today, I posted a post right before I walked in here.
Yeah.
And I would like to just let that go up, but I did it once or twice, and it just died. I was like, I don't know, it didn't do good enough to where I'm not going to do it again. But
Well,
I just put that in my head.
I always tell people, like, you can definitely do it on your end, whereas like maybe put in your notes app and like the caption and you have it ready to go.
Yeah.
Or that like you put it in I always tell people, like, if you want to do the best way to like schedule it is to put it in a draft and then have your
Yes.
caption ready and then take 2 seconds to post it.
Gotcha.
Because it's like you want, like, especially as a small business of any kind, you need all the hacks. You know, like you
For
need
sure.
to hack the algorithm in some way, and that's an easy way to do it.
Do you think a hack, because I went back and forth with a friend of mine about this, is one of the hacks posting at the same time all the time? Does that matter? Or even the day? Does timing matter at all?
So I feel like yes and no. So I have some clients that their specific times do work best, like no matter what. Like whatever time we post, it just doesn't work unless it's that time. But there's other clients where we need to post throughout the day because their audience is so out there that it's like you have the people that are staying up till 3 a.m. and you have the people that are waking up at 4 a.m. So it's like we need to work with both.
Feed that.
Yeah, we need to feed both, literally. So it really just depends. That's why, like, I tell people, I'm like, when I take clients on, I don't have any contracts with them because I'm like, it just scares people away when they're like, I have to be locked in. But I've never had people like work with me for at least like, or less than the 3 months that I like
Propose.
Yeah, I basically propose like a minimum of 3 months. The first month I always tell people, like, we're just getting to know each other. Like, we're getting all the content, but I'm also like really getting to know you on a deeper level of content. And then the second month or the first month we're still posting, but we're still trying to like learn their algorithm because we have no idea. And then the second month we're like, okay, we got this, like we're doing it. And then that third month is like, I can give you numbers. I could say this is what's working, this is what's not.
Yeah.
So if we threw all of that in 1 month, it's like they would waste their time and money and I'd waste my time for sure. Because it's like the whole strategy sometimes could take not necessarily a month, but you're figuring stuff out all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all a process. I always tell people, I'm like, it's like all of it is such a process. It's like it's not just one thing, especially when it comes to marketing.
So with all this content that you guys are posting, all this work you're putting in, you're on your phone, on 2 phones all day. What about addiction?
Yeah, I
Like,
feel that.
Are you guys addicted to your? Because I feel like I am.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just like, because even if you're not necessarily like on TikTok for like leisure, you're still on TikTok to like see what's trending, what's hot, what's not. So it's definitely like, I feel like I'm on my phone 24/7. Even just on YouTube, I'm like, just.
That's mine. Is YouTube.
Yeah,
that's
YouTube.
my favorite app.
I don't
by
even
far.
watch TV,
YouTube's my
it's just
favorite,
YouTube.
yeah.
Dude, I watch so many hours of YouTube.
So do
It's
I.
not good.
I also just love like putting a podcast on and then walking away, and I'm just like, I listen. That's the only thing I do at the gym. I listen to podcasts only because I'm like, when else am I going to listen to this or audiobooks? But the other thing too is like for me, I feel like to answer the addiction question, but I feel like if you're not obsessed with what you're doing, then like what are you actually doing? Because I feel like for me it's an obsession. Like I obsess over the stuff that I do because I'm so passionate about it, but also my business will not thrive if I'm not literally obsessed with it because I have to care about all the stuff that I do. And so it's like I can't not care. Like I do a really good job. Like if I go on vacation or if I leave somewhere, like I'm very like in tune with what I'm doing.
Okay.
But I know that I did all the work to do that. You know, to freely do that. So like I'm leaving to Dallas for a minute in a couple of days, and like thanks to Alex, I'm able to do that too because it's like I've done all the work up front, which means like he's gonna have more than enough to edit while I'm gone.
Yeah.
And so it's like that kind of stuff. I'm able to like breathe for sure. But I also have a crazy balance. I hang out with my family all the time. Like,
okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
What do you do daily to like combat that?
My work life balance is insane. Like I can lock in wherever I'm at really quickly.
Okay.
So like if I'm with my family, especially my grandparents, I'm like definitely locked in because I'm like I love all the time that I can spend with like yeah. We're both of us, but we're so close to our family that it's like, and none of this can honestly work without them. Like there's. Like Alex is like, I'm on 40 calls a day, but 5 of those calls are with my grandpa.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this just happened. What do you think I should do? Like he's like my consultant,
Yeah.
and it always works out. Like all the stuff that he does tell me, all the advice and stuff. But it's like I really think it's important to like just like water those relationships that you do have and not get so caught up in the work, because at the end of the day, like none of this really means anything as far as like the money, the work, the success that anyone could have. Because it's like if you don't have the people that really care around you to support you, for me at least, none of it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get caught in that loop. I've personally, because like one of my things that helps me get out is the gym.
Yeah.
And I've personally, for a week one time, I didn't go to the gym because I was so busy. I was like, why would I go to the gym for an hour and a half when I could use that hour and a half? That's 7 more hours in the week. You know, like I'm doing the numbers in my head. And then that week I just felt terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I forgot. I'm not going to the gym just because. Like I'm going for me, like mentally. And I feel like people get caught in this loop. And if they don't have that balance of something,
that's so true.
You just get lost in your own addiction, work, whatever you want to call it.
And I think too, it's like when you finally come back up to breathe, it's like hopefully everything is as you left it, you know? So which is hard. Like so it's like it really is, it's hard to have that balance for sure. But I think that if a lot of people are like in the like hustle culture stuff, they're like, there's no such thing as work-life balance. Like you just work. And it's like I used to believe that. Like I used to believe that, like, but I would say in the last like 3 years I've gotten so much better.
Okay.
At that of like I know I could work, but if we're supposed to be having dinner, I'm not gonna be on my phone, you know.
I think the people who say that like there's no work-life balance are probably the most unhappy people, because it's like there's no way, like there's literally no way.
And if you have all the success in the world and have no one to share it with, it's like
what's
how
the point?
I don't know how fulfilling that could be. That wouldn't be fulfilling for me. So
Just
like that's
lonely.
what I'm saying. And I know a lot of people like that. They're like some of the richest people I know, and they're really lonely.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's
tough,
like
money buys freedom, not happiness. Like
okay with the bar.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, so
without our
it's just-
family, because we're very family oriented. Like very like it'll be just our immediate family, and we'll just watch the game, or it's a weekly thing.
Yeah, so every Sunday we watch
Yeah.
the Cardinals game together.
That's a sad Sunday every
Right.
Sunday. Right?
Except this last Sunday.
Except
Last
for
Sunday we were all the way
Yeah.
up. We're all the way up. But yeah, so it's just like it's just funny. But it's the work-life balance. Every day I feel like I'm trying to get better at it, but it's hard. Like it's hard to juggle what you do for work, like family, and also trying to prioritize yourself. Like
Dude, that's the one I think people throw out the window.
yeah, I've also like recently I pretty much have hired like a life coach because I'm like I just feel like for me, I'm like, I love when people trust me to run their content, run their marketing. And it's like, at the end of the day, that's what I do for people. And so I'm like, I need like to get to where I want to go faster. I just need to hire people that do things better than I do.
Yeah.
And so, or who can tell me how to do something better.
Allocate some of this work.
And so that's the thing, even when hiring Alex, I'm like, I need help, like literally. And so with him, I'm like, and I even told him too when we first got this office, which was, can you commit to doing this with me? Because I don't want to sign a lease for this office if you don't want to actually do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm all in. And then I think that next week I signed the lease. So
Wow.
yeah, which is like, that was like one of the biggest things for sure.
That's so crazy. What is like, because you, like you said, you have access to all these pages and you do all this content. What's some of your like favorite clients or like shoots that you've done, or like
You're gonna make me pick. No. But,
I didn't think about it that way till you said that. But yeah.
No, it's funny because I work with so like I'm trying to think of like how to explain who Tomas is in my life, but
Hey,
Tomas basically, like, he was not one of my first basketball coaches, but I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and he was my first basketball coach at the Boys and Girls Club.
What's funny is he's been brought up on the pod before.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Tomas is like, that's my guy right there.
Yeah.
Literally. Oh, with Monique, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Tomas is my guy, and so like he works at the Mesa Art Center, and we have been able to like create a podcast together for the Mesa Art, like co-produce a podcast at the Mesa Art Center.
Nice.
Which is sick because I'm like, I get to work with one of my best friends. We get to create some really dope content, and it's a sick way to like bring the Mesa community together within like local artists or artists that are out of town. Anyway, so working with him has been super fun. But he's definitely one of my favorites, just because we've been locked in since I was like 11 years old.
That's
so
crazy.
it's like he's like been like a mentor to me, but also like just now he's like become a friend. So it's
Yeah.
like, and then yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm just thinking of like people who like if I do shout them out, they're not gonna be embarrassed. That's kind of where I'm at.
One of my favorite for sure is Casey.
Yeah, that was
That's
gonna be
my twin.
That's like
That's my
Casey.
twin.
I call her
Yeah.
my twin. She's
Yeah.
my twin. We I feel like over the past, what is it, a year, year and a half of
Yeah.
working together, it's like Liz said, it's more of a friendship. It's not even, and her content's super fun. It's super like lighthearted, so it's not anything that anyone's stressing over. It's more just like it's just her on the camera being herself, having fun,
Yeah.
and then it's like we all just mesh really well.
Yeah, she's like literally become one of my best friends. Like when I work with her, that's why even when you said that, I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm ever working with her. Like we're just so locked in. Like we have like 2 to 3 projects right now, like that are behind the scenes that like no one knows about. But it's like when that launches, like is what we game over for real. And that's like something very small that we're doing. So it's just like every time that we link up, we are constantly doing stuff.
For maybe somebody that doesn't know, what does she do? Like,
so she was on like some reality shows.
Okay.
And so now she does just a lot of different things. Like she is really good with just like obviously her personal content and just like content creation for her. But she does a lot of like motivational content.
okay.
Where it's like, because she was doing that even before she was on these shows. So I always like tell people too, like same thing with like money or like fame. It's like it always amplifies the person that you were before.
Yeah.
And so it's like she was already a dope person and just like was able to give her a platform to showcase who she actually was on a bigger stage. And so that's why I was like, I feel like the funny thing about her is my grandma watched the show that she was on.
Oh, really?
And she was like, this girl reminds me of you. Like, you guys would be best friends. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like, that's crazy. Anyways, long story short, I surprised my grandma by taking her to a meet and greet to meet her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, Casey's also Filipino. My grandma's Filipino. And so she's like, that's why she likes her so much. And so I'm like, I'm gonna surprise her by doing that. So I took her to the meet and greet, and my grandma was plugging me like crazy. She's like, let my granddaughter do your pictures, let her do your videos, like all this stuff. I had never like I knew who Casey was, but like I wasn't like fangirling like my grandma was.
Shout out grandma.
Yeah, shout out to my grandma for real. And so she was like, I'll do it. Like Casey was like, I'll do it. I was like, okay, for sure. Like here's my number, but I doubt you're gonna hit me up.
Yeah.
She actually hit me up, and she was like, I would love to work with you. Like we'll see what we could do. And I did one photo shoot with her, and then she went back to San Diego.
Uh-huh.
And then, like maybe like a year or two went by, and I posted that video, and that's when she was like, "Would you want to work together? Because I'm in Phoenix now, or I'm in Arizona."
It just happened that way.
Like, but yeah, if my grandma would have never plugged me, I would have never known Casey. Casey would never known me. But also, like, if that first photo shoot didn't go well, she would have never hit me up. So. And we've been locked in ever since. Like, legit.
Oh, that's insane. So shout out to grandma.
Yeah, she was the plug for real.
Yo,
I wouldn't have met my twin.
And once again, I was just doing something nice for someone else.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no intention of going to this meet and greet. Like, like.
I think the biggest thing about that story for me is it's the perfect balance of shooting your shot and also trusting your work.
Yeah.
Because, if grandma didn't shoot your shot, then she wouldn't have had your number. But then also you had to be good at what you did.
Yeah,
for her to
that's
maintain that, be like, oh, I know someone in Arizona who does really good work.
Yeah,
I think it's just that whole it's just like that. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Like
Exactly.
I really feel like that's so true. Because there's so many opportunities that have been like placed, not necessarily placed in our lap this year, but kind of.
Yeah, even
it's
this
like,
one. You're
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
You're like, hey, I'm about to leave. I'm like, oh God.
So
all right, tomorrow.
The funny part about that is I literally told myself, I was like, Angela's not going to say yeah to that. Because I told him late yesterday.
Yes.
On purpose, by the way. I was like, there's no way he's going to agree to a 10 a.m. podcast. And then you're like, you know what? Let's just do the morning. I was like, bro.
Got her, Angela. We got her.
We got her.
I literally said that too. I was like, I said, yeah, I have one time slot. I was like,
I know, dude. Yeah,
and I was like, and then I leave. But
I do prefer doing mornings, but it just happened to where the other person literally, because I had a pod schedule for Sunday this week,
okay.
And I hit him up. I'm like, hey, we're good for Sunday, right? He's like, oh, I'm leaving this weekend, so I have Monday through Thursday. And I'm like, oh my God, all right. And that was yesterday, Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, how about tonight? And he's like, yeah, come through. So I'm like, all right. And then right after I set that up, you're like, yeah, how about tomorrow in the morning, maybe? And I'm like, oh God, sure.
You totally called my bluff. Like there was no way out of it at that point. I told Alex, I was like, I guess I'm doing the podcast. And
that's so funny. Yeah, I think it was needed because, like, I keep saying this, but everyone's a content creator. Like, no matter what, like if you don't even want to become big or, like get your page going, you're still going to be posting pictures. You're still going to be
exactly
posting videos. Like everyone, it's just a part of our life now.
Yeah, no, it is.
I think that's what we were
true,
talking about
actually.
at Heated Soul too. And you're like, please, like get her to get on the pod. I'm like, and the crazy thing is people think, okay, you just post, but she knows all the strategy. I was like, that's a great thing to put in the interview, is like, because there's a lot that goes into it that people don't know.
One of like my clients recently told me something funny, but they were like, you people don't pay you for being able to post social media. They're literally paying you for your brain. And I was like, that's hilarious, because they're like, they can hire any marketing strategist, but like the reason why people hire you is very specific, and it's just because you're gonna reverse engineer everything that you just said to them and then make it happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's so true, because I'm like, at the end of the day, people post on social media all the time. But it's like,
regardless,
without a plan, it's not going to do anything. So it's like,
wow.
So I was like, you know what? That's true.
So what does pricing look like for you guys? Because I mean, your scale of what you do is could be so small or so big.
My first client, who I just won't say who it is, but they were the first people to the first business to give me a real shot at social media. This was like in 2016, I think. And anyways, I've kept their rate the same, and their rate is $400 a month.
Wow.
All these years. To do a lot.
All that.
It's not necessarily a lot, but we create the content, curate the content, and just stay locked in on their page. So but I'll never up the price for him, because he was the first person to give me a chance.
A shot.
This last proposal that I closed was like a $5,000 thing.
Damn.
So
that's crazy.
That just goes to show, so I appreciate that. And that's just one of the clients that I got. So it's like it's like I've definitely raised my prices outrageously, but it's because of all the work that we put in.
Yeah.
And it's like Alex and I are the main people in the business, but there's always work that needs to be done, which means sometimes I do have to work with other people to make it happen. So just for example, we don't have an in-house website person, but I was in talks with signing a really big contract with someone. So I needed a dedicated website developer.
Gotcha.
And so now I have that person locked in. So it's like, there's nothing that we can't do. Yeah. But again, we're building the plane as we go. So
for sure.
It's like, I don't ever over promise, but I also know that I can make it happen. So it's like, for this really out of the box proposal that we had to send out, I knew that there was a couple things, and I'm like, we don't have an in-house person, but me being as authentic as possible, I told them that, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna go have to find this person, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. Yeah. And so that's why the price is, but I mean, to work with me now, it's like, I won't work with anyone monthly for less than $2,500 a month. And so it's because I have 12 pages that I manage. So it's like, in order for me to do a good job for you, it has to be worth it. And you also have to be wanting to invest in yourself at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's because I've been doing this for full time, 7-8 years. And so it's by this point, I'm thankfully I haven't had a website for a year, and it's just been because I've been doing it myself. So I'm just it hasn't been my most giant priority, but that's what I'm trying to work on actively actually. But I say that to say, it's all been word of mouth for me. And so, I haven't had to market myself because...
I know, that's so crazy.
Yeah. And so, that's the,
That's what trips me out is, your page is just more so... I mean, you post business stuff, but it's a personal page.
It's just a personal page.
And
and
you so guys started, what's the other page? The Social Beast.
Social Beast.
Is it there's an underscore or something, right?
Not that one.
It's the social. I think
it's just the Social Beast.
The Social Beast. Yeah, I wanted to shout it out, but yeah, you guys started that. Yeah. But even you guys don't go crazy.
I had that. So a few years ago, I had stuff on there, and I kind of just archived everything because it didn't really align, and I also didn't want to be a graphics page where they put this is how
quotes or something.
I just didn't want to do that, and I just felt like it didn't really align with me. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try to be more intentional. But not one person, this is another thing too, is at the end of the day, if you have a really good service or product, the people aren't gonna ask you for anything but what did the person who told me about you say about you, and also what do you show me, And so it's I've never had a person ask me for my website, not once. I've never had a person say, what's your website, or show me your work, ever. I've never had that. And I'm signing big contracts. And so it's it's not it's crazy to me. So it just goes to show if you put in the work and you show up authentically right in front of the person, you give them a good proposal, you give them a good presentation, they're not going to need
For
extra
sure.
stuff from you.
I've gotten people on the podcast like that. Like they're dodging me, but when I go see you in person and I
That's what
talk
I'm
to
saying.
you,
Yeah.
they're like, "All right, I'll do it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that in person is just different.
I
Or
always
word of mouth.
tell people too, like it's become like a funny like thing with my grandpa, but I'm like basically people hate to see me come into a proposal meeting because I've never not closed one like in
Yeah.
person. So I'm like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I do the work up front so that it's like I build rapport, but also like I will only take somebody on as a client if I really feel like I can help them.
I was gonna say, and I can tell why you close it is just one word is you're just passionate.
Yeah.
So when you talk about it, they're like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
she's gonna get our."
Right.
Even if you don't,
Right.
they're like, "I think she thinks that she
I
can
think, yeah.
get this going." You know what I mean? It's just the passion. Like some people don't have that, and you have that passion where you're like, I can trust her, even
Yeah.
if the content is on an Android,
Yeah.
she's gonna push it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can tell she's
No,
gonna
that's
push
real.
it.
I'm telling you, like I think that's like a great word actually. Like just like feeling passionate about literally helping people. I'm like if I can for real help someone, like I'm all the way up. Like
Yeah.
any client win that I have, it's like it'll make my whole day.
Yeah.
And so like my clients range. Like I have a client who or like it's the Phoenix 10K. They're one of my clients right now. It's like and they've been a race for 49 years.
That's crazy.
And so the cool thing is I get to work directly with like Dr. Art, and he's been in the game for a long time.
That's crazy.
Like a long time. And right after this podcast, we're gonna go meet with him.
Oh,
but
dope.
like he told me, he was like, I really trust for you to do the content because I've had a lot of people pitch me offers.
Of course,
But he's
yeah.
like, I really trust you to do the content because like what I do with other people in an hour, we can do in 5 minutes. So it's like he's like the way your brain works. People just stay talking about this brain that I got. So, but they're like, but he really does say that. So he's like, the way that your brain works, it's like we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
And I always tell people like we create the best content if we could really vibe together.
for sure. Yeah.
And it's like
it's so funny. Like when we were getting stuff set up, you reminded me of myself so much because I ask you a question and you can't really answer it because you have like three things that you're like three options, and I do the same thing all the time.
real.
Like I just be quiet because I'm like. You're going through the checklist of no, that one worked, that one, that one, and then you can say your answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
But yeah, when you
It's-
can vibe, like you get work done so much faster.
because
Oh
like
my
you
God.
might, and also too, like when I'm working with Casey, like when our like our wavelength is literally always the same, but it's like we constantly like are thinking of new ideas, but sometimes we know that like we're not answering each other's questions.
Yeah.
But we will eventually.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so it's funny because it's just like it really takes, like I said, the perfect person to work with and feel like you're really locked in.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I'm really locked in, it's a game over. Like if I can lock in on the person's content or work, I'm like
Yeah. you're-
done.
Well, I know you don't need it, but you guys shout out your Instagram and tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so if
because-
you hey, you can do this part.
Yeah, it's at the Social Beast on Instagram. We don't have an X, right?
No.
No, okay. Yeah, at Social Beast on Instagram.
Yeah, we're definitely. I do want to start growing that page for real because I wanted to
So
just
that's
be
the one to follow. You don't want to push your personal.
Yeah, you can definitely follow me
yeah.
at my personal one because I post the most there. It's
Okay.
like I feel like I post the most tips there, which is kind of backwards, but it's like it's just so in the moment that I'm
Yeah.
like, but it's just my first and last name, so it's just Alyssa Avila, and that's it on Instagram.
And then mine's Alex Visuals, 2 A's.
There we go. Oh,
Yeah.
you just changed
Yeah, I
it.
just changed it.
Remember you? So he asked me. He was like, "Oh, what's your Instagram?" And I'm all Alex J 12 Villa 12. And I'm like, it's too long.
Yeah, we were like, bro, stop.
I'm like,
As
It's
soon
all
as he-
full government too, even though my name is my full name. But that's so funny.
Yeah,
As soon as he
just-
started giving letters and numbers, I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm not gonna remember that. I'm just gonna look you up.
yeah, I just changed it like, a couple days
I
ago.
seen it. I was like, oh, Alex Visuals. I like
Yeah,
that.
I did
After
too.
he did so, I was like, I can't network with this name. It's too hard.
That's dope. Yeah, that's dope. So, I mean, thank you guys for being on. I have to ask both of you my favorite
Yes.
question.
Yes, I've
Alex
been
has been
waiting all
dying for
day for
this. He's
this.
been dying for this.
So, I mean, you guys are killing it. So I have to ask, and we'll go one by one because you guys have different answers.
This is
of
all
course.
you.
But
it
why
away.
do you why do you do what you do? I mean, you're on the editing side. You're on the empathy side, brain side. You know what I mean? It's like, you go first, Alex. Let me know.
Man, I've been waiting for this question literally all day. Like literally, I was asking Liz. I was like, why do you do what you do?
And he was like in the voice that you say it.
And then, but honestly, with editing, I think I really fell in love with it because it's like I control the narrative. So like, even if something say isn't cinematic, I can make it cinematic. Even if something, you know, it isn't supposed to be inspirational, I can make it inspirational. Like, I feel like that's the beauty of editing is that you can give me one clip and say you want it this way, and I can make it that way.
It's a lot of power.
Exactly. It is. Which I use it for good, that's thankfully. But yeah, it is a lot of power, and it's a lot of, like... Also, I feel like I have to look out for the person that I'm editing for, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, you know, maybe they shouldn't have said that. Not that anyone's saying anything crazy, but if they shouldn't have.
How it'll come off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I'm that like last line of defense before it actually goes.
Alex
to
is
the
literally
public.
great at that. Like he's so good at that. Like there's things that I'm like, you know, I'm not really sure, and before I even say anything, he's already taken it out.
Yeah.
It's like he's really, really good at that.
I try to be like very like extra aware because especially on the internet, people take things so far that it's like, you know, you can't eat a certain place, you know, or you can't drink a certain brand, you know. It's so I try to be very mindful and aware of that. Very, very demure.
I can't stand him.
How about you?
Mine's gonna be a little bit more sappier. I feel like only because I always think about that every time you ask that question in your podcast. I'm like, what would I say if you asked me that? But I never really thought about it honestly. So this is all straight from the dome. But I really feel like at the end of the day, like the reason why I do what I do is to fuel the legacy that I'm trying to build. And I want people to like look back, and if they've worked with me in the past or they're going to work with me, like I want them to realize like I'm going to do the best possible job. It's not going to, nothing about it is cookie cutter. Like we're going to be in the trenches with you, but also like for the legacy of my business is important, but really for the legacy of my family and like my future family, like everything about me, I have that in my head at all times. Like how would my family or the family that I will have myself, like what would they want to see from me? Like how would I show up for them without them even being here? Because it's like I want however I show up to be as authentic as possible when no one's even around me. And it's like if I can show up and be a great person then I'm going to show up even greater when people are around me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that's literally why I do it, is to like be the best possible person that I could be no matter what. Because at the end of the day, everyone has their own story. Everyone goes through like different struggles. But it really is just how you show up, like honestly, because everyone goes through something. So
all you can do is be your best self.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Whatever that means.
Control.
Yeah. No, like I had this conversation with somebody recently. You have no control over anything but you. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you take all of that anxiety away, all that stress away, like, and you can only focus on you, like you're also going to be able to help everyone around you. And I'm like, if I can help all those people that I do love and all those future people that I'm going to love, it's like I'm about to be the greatest person I could be, like regardless, you know. And so all that I do work-wise is just a byproduct of who I really am as a person.
Yeah,
And
that
so,
passion.
Yeah.
That passion. Yeah, so thank you guys again. We didn't even shout out your brand, though. Do that real quick,
I know,
too.
the Winning Brand.
Yes, the Winning Brand.
Yeah, so Winning Brand is a brand that Casey and I started, and it's honestly this in November it'll be a year, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So and so we have a lot of things coming up that we're like about to do, but our biggest, like what fueled the Winning Brand like merch, we never wanted it to be merch. It's just we wanted to get it on something. But we really want to do like a lot of different youth programs, like to be everything that the youth programs that we had growing up were not.
Gotcha.
So it's like yes, we want somebody to be a good basketball player, but how can you be like a better human?
Gotcha.
And it's like we never really were taught that. Like thankfully, like I feel like I just learned by having good coaches and like stuff like that. But not every kid is going to have a good coach, and not every kid is going to be a great basketball player or a good football player. So we want to take everything that we know and like amplify the youth that's around us, because at the end of the day, like that's who literally is the future. So it's like if you know, and we have all been around like kids or younger people who are like, there's no hope for some kids, because it's like they don't have the right people in their life. And so it's like if we can make a difference like that, it's going to go so much further.
Yeah.
And so that's why we started Winning Brand.
And it's a website, right?
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it's winningbrand.co.
Winningbrand.co.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all check that out. I should have worn my hat today. I don't even know where mine is at, but I have it.
Shout out to you for that, for real. I was not that I was shocked, but it's like when you put out a product, you never know who's gonna really mess with it, you know, or like support it.
Yeah.
And so when you had got, or because I see all the orders come in, so when I saw your name pop up, I was like, that's really dope.
Dude, I wore that hat. That's why I don't know where it's at, because I wore it like on all my stories. I was
Yeah.
wearing it at the gym. Like I wore the hat
Yeah.
out. It's because I need to clean it
Yeah.
and then re-go at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wore it out. But yeah, thank you guys
I appreciate
so much.
you though.
Yeah.
This was fun. This was fun. I'm
dope.
glad I definitely
We should.
said yes.
I don't know if I'll be able to. If we'll be able to convince her, but we should run this back because
No, I'm
content
down.
is always
Yeah.
changing, and I feel like people really are gonna like this. And I had more questions too. So
I also feel like this was more of like a get to know you podcast.
yeah,
So-
next time we could do like topics.
Yeah,
you
and next
know?
time it's like we can be more helpful on specific content ideas or like what's trending. We can do any of that.
That'd be
Honestly,
dope.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm totally down.
So we'll be. If you guys want to see that, drop comment, like, share,
Yeah.
comment, subscribe. Beyond the Brand Podcast. We out. Peace.